All right, let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk about one of the biggest myths out there, one that holds so many smart people back. It's this idea that you have to somehow find confidence before you can do something big. Well, today we're going to tear that idea apart.
I mean, does this question sound familiar? It's what we all ask ourselves, right? When we're staring down a new challenge, a big project, a scary opportunity, we think confidence is this magic key, and we have to go find it somewhere before we can even begin. But what if that's the wrong question entirely?
To really get to the bottom of this, let's talk about Sarah. Now, Sarah is amazing at her job, a total powerhouse when it comes to strategy. But her new promotion comes with this terrifying new task. She has to present her work directly to the board. And honestly, she's completely frozen with fear.
So Sarah looks at her CEO, the one who can command a room without even trying, and she falls into that classic trap. She thinks to herself, well, he's just one of those people. He was born with it. I just don't have that confidence gene. What she's not seeing is the 15 years of practice, the shaky hands he had at his first meeting, the hundreds of tiny steps he took to look so effortless.
And this, right here, is the big secret. If you wait until you feel confident before you start, you are going to be waiting forever. Confidence isn't the fuel you need to start the car. It's the exhaust that comes out after the engine is already running. It's a result, not a requirement.
So how does this actually work? Well, it's a mechanism we call the competence-confidence loop. Think of it like a heavy flywheel. That first push is the hardest. You take one small action, and it builds just a tiny bit of competence. That little bit of competence gives you a flicker of real confidence, which then gives you just enough juice to push the flywheel again, maybe a little bit harder this time. It literally feeds itself. This isn't just some motivational poster idea. It's based on the psychological principle of self-efficacy. Our belief in our own abilities is built on a history of actual success, not just wishful thinking.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this loop actually work in the real world? Let's break down the exact mechanics so you can get this flywheel spinning for yourself. It's a pretty simple process once you see it. It really boils down to just 3 steps. 3 things you have to do to get the loop started and, more importantly, to keep it going. You start small, you get real feedback, and then you adjust. That's it. First up, small reps. You can't just decide to climb Mount Everest tomorrow. Your brain has this built-in alarm system, the amygdala, and if you try to do something too big too soon, it's just going to flood you with fear and shut you down. So instead, you take what we call a minimum viable risk. It's an action so small it's almost impossible to fail, and so it flies right under the radar of that fear response. So for Sarah, this doesn't mean practicing her huge board presentation. Not yet. Her very first rep is just speaking for 2 minutes. 2 minutes in her regular team meeting, where everybody already knows and likes her. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is just to get through it and prove to her brain that, hey, this is survivable. Okay, so she's done her small rep. Now comes step 2, feedback. And this is so important because it's where most of us get it wrong. The most powerful feedback loop isn't what your boss says or what your colleagues say. It's the conversation that happens inside your own head, literally seconds after you're done. And this is where that internal story is everything. See, her destructive inner critic could zoom in on one tiny mistake. I stumbled over a word, I'm so clumsy. That kills the loop. But the objective voice, it acts like a scientist. It just looks for the data. Did people nod while I was talking? Yes. Am I still alive? Yes. That's it. That objective check gives her brain the proof it needs. The action was a success. And finally, step 3 is calibration. This is where you get smart. Based on that objective feedback, Sarah makes a small adjustment. Maybe she noticed she was talking a little too fast. So for her next small rep, maybe a 3-minute update, she'll focus just on her pacing. Calibration is what turns this from a flat circle into an upward spiral. Every step is an improvement. So what happens when Sarah just keeps running this loop? Small rep, objective feedback, calibrate, over and over for 6 months. Let's fast forward and see what changes. And this is the magic. This is the payoff. 6 months later, Sarah's standing in front of that board. Her old thought was, I can't do this. That's a statement based purely on fear. Her new thought is, I have done this before. That's a statement based on fact. It's a fact built on the data from dozens and dozens of successful small reps. She's not trying to pump herself up. She's just remembering her own history. And that gets us to a much, much better definition of confidence. Real confidence isn't loud or arrogant. It's not some personality trait you're born with. It's the quiet security that comes from knowing you have the evidence. You know you're competent because you've done it. and you know you have the tools to handle whatever happens next. So, Sarah's story is great, but what about you? How can you put this to work right now? Let's get really practical and build a tool you can use for anything. We call it the confidence ladder.
Check out this example for public speaking. You see, you don't start at the top trying to give the big presentation. No way. Rung 1 is just recording yourself talking about a topic for 2 minutes on your phone. Nobody else even has to see it. Then rung 2 might be asking one question in a big Zoom meeting. Each rung is a perfectly designed small rep, building you up step by step to that final goal.
So to wrap all this up, here's your toolkit. Number 1, and please burn this into your brain. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. Number 2, always start with a minimum viable risk to get that flywheel spinning. 3, use objective data, not that mean inner critic, to calibrate. And finally, go build your own confidence ladder for whatever skill you want to master.
And that leaves us with one last, really important question. Think about that one big, scary thing you've been putting off. Forget about finding the confidence to do it. Instead, just ask yourself this: what is the smallest, safest, tiniest first step I can possibly take? What's the first rung on your ladder?